Hi everybody and welcome to another video. My name is Richard Seidlitz, I'm the owner of redpants.lol, and you may notice that this video is going to be a little different because I brought everything to film a video except for my camera. So we're going to be doing a two-part video today. The first part is the job I came to do, and the second part is a camera test for the brand new Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I'm not a tech reviewer, so really this is just, let's see if I can make a video using my cell phone because I am not the smartest man in the world sometimes. As you can see behind me, I have got an interior that is taken apart. I don't have a seat right here. I've got the center console is out. The seat is over that way. The center console is, I think, over that way. And I need to look over here at the camera. This is going to be so weird. I'm warning you right now. But above, you can see what we really need to do is this headliner. So a big thank you to my buddy Mike, who made a DIY for this on the forums ages ago. Long time ago, I'd asked him about making a DIY guide out of it. Never got around to it, partly because I just had too much going on, and partly because I didn't need it. But I do now. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can take this apart and fix it. So first steps first is to take off the gauge cluster hood. I've got a DIY showing how to do that. It's pretty simple. There's a screw in the center on the leading edge that has a strap holding the binocle or cover to the gauge cluster. So when you pull up on the gauge cluster hood, you need to make sure you remove that screw and strap from the binocle, or excuse me, from the gauge cluster before you yank that hood out of there. What we're doing right now, Casey is taking out this trim panel. It is the one that has the vent on it. Use a trim tool, work your way around it, being very careful because there are some clips in there, some tabs that can break pretty easily if done the wrong way. And that came out rather nicely. Next we have the panel on the other side. It once again pops out. There are a number of clips. Again, being careful not to break those or break any of the tabs. Next up, you need to remove the screws that are holding down the top dashboard trim panel. There's one here, one right here, and one right there. Because of the angle that we have to get at these, we're just doing it with a ratchet and bit. It makes it a lot easier in situations like this. It just prevents it from stripping, and it's just as easy as using a screwdriver, if not easier. So what we're doing is we're going from underneath with a pry tool and putting some leverage from underneath. Can't really go from the top because the windshield's in the way. You may be able to manage it, but for us this is showing to be a lot easier and coming out quite nicely. Again, you just want to be careful that you're not breaking any of the tabs and you're going straight up to avoid that. Follow the A-pillar up to the roof area. There's going to be this spot right here. It's actually a fir tree clip. Further back is another one right there. As soon as I touched this thing, it broke in multiple different pieces. You can see this thing just completely came apart. there are multiple breaks in it. Man, this is a great camera. Good job, Samsung. So basically with this is a standard fir tree with this Alcantara cover on it. What I'm going to end up doing is taking the plastic off of this, or I guess the Alcantara off the plastic, and then re-adhering the Alcantara to another fir tree clip and popping it back in. I've actually seen this happen before. Usually they hold up a lot better than this, but I guess with the age of the car and what it's been through, can't say I'm terribly surprised, but this didn't have any resistance whatsoever. It immediately broke apart. So don't be too surprised if you end up in a similar situation. Just have some extra fir tree clips ready and some glue. And here is the other one. Again, no resistance whatsoever. Just came straight apart. The hardest part about this is getting the remnant of the fir tree clip out. The top of it broke apart pretty much instantaneously, but getting out the rest, it is also breaking apart, which means as we pull out a little bit, more of it's left inside, so it's going to be kind of a pain. This might be something we have to deal with once the trim panel is completely off.
This angle sucks. Oh, okay.
The fir tree clips aren't holding the trim panel in place. They're actually just access hole covers. Behind each fir tree clip is a T25 Torx bolt, and you'll need a thin Torx bit like this one to get to them. Now, the trim piece is flexible, so you do have a bit of leeway there. Just be careful not to break anything, and everything will sort of come out. And the front isn't even attached to anything. It just comes out anyway. It's weird how these cars are built. Some parts are like ridiculously bolted together and fastened in multiple types of clips, and some pieces are just kind of like, you know, just there. On the back side of the trim panel that goes along the roof, you can see the brackets. That's what we are doing. We can see the brackets. There are 4 of them, but only these 2 have the holes in them for that. So when you're doing this, you don't have to actually remove these, and quite frankly, it's probably better that you don't, because you don't have to risk losing them, and you don't have to worry about putting them back in. All you need to do is loosen them a little so that they can slide off of here. Since we are taking this out because of the headliner coming down, we're going to have a lot of this foam padding dust crap to deal with. Be ready to deal with that as well if you're doing this job. It's unfortunately part of the issue is when this stuff deteriorates, it is no longer able to hold the headlining up, and it's going to get everywhere, so just be ready for it. Next, we do the passenger side, same thing as the driver for the most part, but we're not actually removing this the whole way. We're just going to loosen these 2 bolts so that we can pop the trim panel loose and not actually remove it. So don't worry about getting too deep into this side. You also don't have to remove the dash for it either. You can see one of the fir tree clips heads is already over there because we barely touched it and it snapped clean off. The cam rail, which is the word I just learned, is the trim panel that runs from the left to the right of the car. It is held on by a T15 Torx screw. So we're going to pull that guy out. And you can see on this side that we're just holding down the trim panel right here. We didn't actually remove the whole way. We didn't need to do that. And out comes that one. Coming in, here is the other Torx screw right there. It's a T15, so we'll remove that. With those 2 screws out, we have got some fir trees, and here they are releasing. Jesus. Muscle and care. And a headliner.
I have devolved into Ghost.
Headliner. Cheeto Ghost.
This car is literally
This is kind of funny. This is funny from where I'm sitting.
I can't see.
No, it's not. Wait, I'm paying this bill. This is not funny from where I'm sitting. On the flip side of the Alcantara is this panel with more of that Cheeto crap. It's held on by these little clips right here, these discs, and there's 3 of them along the back right there that you can see. Those are just pushed on. You can pull those off and this panel will come out. You can see it's just kind of held in place by those. Now, what we need to do next is to remove the front cam rail. I think that's the word I'm using, right? Which means removing the mirror first and the map light assembly. But since we're just taking this out, you can see the headliner, which Casey was just wearing as a garment, is out completely because it's just press fit up in here. In order to reinstall it, we will have to remove this though. To remove the rearview mirror, we have got a bolt up at the top where it goes into the forward cam rail. That is a T30. Again, we're using one of these narrow T30 Torx bits to get access to it. And we are starting to lose light, so we're doing all this with spotlights and flashlights, so it might be a little difficult to see. The camera on this phone is still doing well though.
Yes, sir.
Oh. Now we've got a Phillips head right up here.
Okay,
and down it comes. Now that we've got that all removed, we can move this cam rail around quite a bit. We don't have to do anything further for this. We just need to wait until the headliner gets repaired and reinstalled. There's a small connector that is fir tree clipped to the back of the roof. We're going to pry that out so that we can get that headliner pad out of here.
Clear this first, and then we
Like that?
just like that. That's exactly what I needed.
All right, go to the other side. Actually, I think I got it. Casey had previously made a special tool, which is basically a putty scraper with the edges, or I guess the edge of it being bent up around like that. And as you can see, it is working pretty well. This was just a couple of scrapes and it came off pretty easily. So we're gonna grab some paper towels because we're about to make a mess, and we're gonna scrape the rest of this stuff off so that it's nice and clean. Casey's special tool is working really well. It's getting this crap off really easily. This is the pad that is between the roof and the headliner, and it's semi-rigid, so the scraper is working really well. I have a feeling that when we do the headliner itself, it's gonna be a lot more difficult because it's soft and it's gonna move quite a bit. We also want to be careful not to tear it, and we also need to be careful of the underside so that it doesn't get pulled around. We're going to have to put something down to make sure that it's protected on the bottom side, the Alcantara side, while doing the backside scraping. This is actually working really well. You can see how much progress we've made. This hasn't even been long. It's only been a couple of minutes. There's still a whole bunch of cleaning to do because this stuff is pretty sticky. So we'll get as much of it off as we can, and then we're going to get some isopropyl alcohol and a big old sponge and rub the thing down and try to get off the remnants before moving over and finishing up the headliner itself, and then gluing everything back together so we can reinstall it. And here is the cleaned headliner pad. All of the remnant adhesive Cheeto stuff is gone. We scraped off as much as we could safely, and then we used a Goo Gone or similar product and some scouring pads to just brush off the rest. It wasn't any real scrubbing, it was just a sort of scraping off with the scouring pads. So nice and easy, all done. We're gonna wipe this down with a little bit of water to make sure all that Goo Gone's gone, and then we'll go ahead and continue with adhering our headliner to the headliner pad. You saw how dirty it was before, and now it's much, much cleaner, although the floor is definitely not. We ended up using some specialty tools called latex gloves and some finger power. I've got so many dirty jokes right now, and I'm not going to say them because I've already snapped at Casey a few times about monetization, so use your imagination. We have our headliner laid down. The easy way to align it is to use these tabs back here and go out from there. I am back in Idaho very briefly for my brother's wedding, which also gives me a chance to film the headliner, which I had forgotten to do last time I was in town. So here it is, it's done. You can see everything is back up in place, nice and smooth. Everything's right where it is supposed to be. That was actually not that difficult of a job. I think the hardest part was figuring out the best way to take off this trim pillar. I'll say when you do take out this trim pillar that goes over the door, you want to be really careful. Other than that, again, be careful with the Cheeto stuff. You can see there's a little bit of it here left that I haven't finished cleaning, but that's it. So that's the video. Hope you like it. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them up. You can also reach me at rich@redpants.lol. And I hope you liked the video. If you did, please share, like, subscribe, etc., etc., etc. And make sure you check out www.redpants.lol for anything you need for your Aston Martin. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.